Hello, in this tutorial we're going to talk about attribute tables. Now in a GIS, a feature on a map is associated with a great deal of information, and obviously more than can be displayed at any one time. And all this information is stored in what's called an attribute table. In an attribute table we have a row or record for every feature in the layer and a column or field for every attribute or category of information. And to get to our attribute table, I have this map already loaded here with a cities, roads, and states, point, line, polygon, and we're just going to look at some of the attributes associated with each one of these features. The first one we're going to start with is cities. So if I click on cities or make sure that it is highlighted, I right click to get to my table. We get our little sub menu here. Third one down is called attribute, open attribute table. Now this is the attribute table for just this layer of cities, okay? And again, each attribute table contains a row and a column, okay? The row is obviously each point on the map, and the column is the information associated with that particular point. And each particular individual item is called a cell. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at the information associated with cities. The first one is always an FID. There's always an ID associated with each point that separates it from each other point. The second one here is our shape, and this is a point shape file. We also have a city's FIPS number, or association. FIPS is a Federal Information Processing Standard set up by the government to code geographic areas. Third one here is a city name. Obviously, at each point has a name. State name it's associated with. State, city. Type. Capital, yes or no. Elevation, population, households, males, females. And again, if we scroll across this table, you can see that there is a lot of information associated with each point on the map. Okay? Now, down here at the bottom, you can see the number of records. I always tell you the number of records associated with this particular layer. And this one, there's 3,149 points on this map. Now, I have this one selected here. It's called Decatur, Alabama. And when I highlight something, it's called Make a Selection. So I've selected that, and if I move this out of the way and look at my map, I can see that the point is highlighted on my map. And if I was to zoom in on that, you can see that the point sits right there in Alabama. Okay, so it is associated with a point on the map. Now, close this particular attribute table out, and we are going to open the attribute table for roads. Again, I highlight that, I right click, I open the attribute table, and this is the attributes or characteristics associated with roads shapefile added to this map. And you can see again it starts with our ID, our shape. This one has a length for each particular segment, type of road it is, class, is it a toll road, and a route number. And again, if I look here, I have 679 features in this particular shape file. And again, if I was to highlight one and move my table out of the way, and I can see on my map that that particular segment of road is highlighted on my map. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to turn off my tool, and we're going to go to states, and we are going to open that attribute table to see all the attributes or characteristics associated with this state's polygon shapefile. And again, starting out, we have our ID number, polygon, area, state name. There's our state Federal Information Processing Standard. subregion, population 1990, 1999, and if I scroll across again, you'll see columns of information associated with each point on this particular feature. And again, if I was to highlight one of those, pick Georgia, and if I move this out of the way, you can see that Georgia is highlighted, and that's where it is associated with this particular selection. I am going to unselect that, and just to show you a couple of things that can be done with your attribute table, we could sort it. It's ordered ascending, descending. If we just wanted to look at our information, we could quickly see which one is associated with the highest to lowest. And again, if I do this to population, this is the lowest population associated with Wyoming. And if I scroll to the bottom, the highest population is obviously California. Okay, so we can sort information. We could add rows and columns to this if we wanted to. That would be done later in an editing session. And that's kind of really what I wanted to show you associated with attribute tables for these particular shape files. Again, attribute tables are the information behind the geographic information system.